So ridiculous. And then that little inner child for me was the moment that I felt symbiotic with like Ash, that I was just like, this is my version, which is just it's absurd. Like when you have like a weapon that's laced throughout a franchise, there's something so like action figure about it that you're just like, this is ridiculous.
I did know the answer in litres, but I was recently given the updated formula, so it was a little above 1,700 gallons of blood, which is quite a lot of blood.
Yeah. Well, pretty cool. Also, just at South by Southwest, the cheer from the crowd when Lilly picked up the chainsaw was just like so cool.
I needed to come get some because they were too G'd on it. I was like, wait,
cool.
No matter how busy you ever got, you always found time for me. I can't believe I'm never gonna speak to you again.
Yes, well, we're Joblo, so I figured my name's James Oster, Jimmy O, perfect.
Makes sense.
Guys, you kicked ass in this thing, both of you. I guess, how do you, okay, as a fan jumping into this world, I would be ecstatic. What was your guys' reaction being cast in a freaking Evil Dead movie? Lily, start with you.
Absolutely stoked. I grew up on horror. Like for me, I'm always at the cinema. I'm like, to actually be a part of this franchise and an electrifying experience, and to shoot it was amazing. But yeah, I mean, the Evil Dead films are like a triumph for independent filmmaking and the horror genre. So for me, there's something grassroots about it, the practical effects. So we were going to get to do so much of it, not relying on CGI, the dance with the camera, being strapped with a camera at one point to get that, like, you know, wild close up of Beth running. It was so interactive and so fun, and like it exceeded all my expectations of being in an Evil Dead film.
What about you, Alyssa? And you I mean, you're the main thing here. You go through this.
Yeah, I think you know, I tend to be a bit of a nervy, anxious person in general. So like I knew that there is this whole huge Evil Dead fandom that I kind of had to push to the side while we were filming, or I think the pressure may have got to me a little bit. Yeah, I just relished having the role of Ellie, and as an actress, like, this doesn't come along. It really doesn't. At least like getting to play two roles in a film, but then for the bigger of those to be a like psychotic monster. I just don't think we see women on screen like that. And it was such a gift as an actress to have, and so much fun. Like I have a lot of unexpressed rage, as it turns out, and it was very cathartic. I got to just tap into that and let it all out. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Nice. Well, Lily, you're kind of jumping into a little bit of the Ash role, you know, with this kind of, did you feel that you had to separate yourself from the original films to do this?
I mean, I feel like to a degree, yes. And Lee had laced so many great moments and one-liners that felt so energetically Evil Dead. So you felt super safe and could kind of let that all go. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, lifting the chainsaw up and revving it hard, like I'd ricocheted like energy through my whole body. I was like, this has never felt more right. It was so ridiculous. And then that little inner child for me was the moment that I felt symbiotic with like Ash, that I was just like, this is my version, which is just it's absurd. Like when you have like a weapon that's laced throughout a franchise, there's something so like action figure about it that you're just like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, separated, but also like it felt really fun to play in the world, to get a go at it. I never thought in my wildest dreams.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. Also, just at South by Southwest, the cheer from the crowd when Lilly picked up the chainsaw was just like so cool.
I needed to come get some because they were too G'd on it. I was like, wait,
cool. Wait, I've got dialogue. Shh, it's really good.
But I say my cool line, the one liner from the movies.
It's me. Don't let it take my babies.
Man, what impressed me with what you did here with Evil Dead Rise is you took kind of the mythology and what we've seen in the past few films, but you did make it your own. This is a standalone story with you've kind of added on the mythology. What was it when going in? Were you desperate to keep in, but you knew you had to like maybe fix, change, or whatever, move forward?
Yeah, I think I needed. It's all about the context. What I really wanted to do was take the lore, take the horror, take the energy of those movies, but put it in a context with kind of new characters and place it somewhat in a new world that was different to what we'd seen before. Because I'd always felt that, that in terms of the movies, that the evil force and the Necronomicon could exist in many places in the world. And I found that angle with, this idea that, priests 100 years ago, if there was an evil book out there, they may have laid their hands on it and utilized that in some way. So it was a great way of setting this new kind of like history in place, which was an important thing for me that I really wanted to do. But equally, there was things I had to leave behind because I wanted to always serve the story. So that's, for example, the Oldsmobile Delta is not in the movie, where there's other iconic things, but this family were never going to be driving that Delta, not in the here and now. But I still tried to find a car that felt like a vague reminder of what we'd seen before, because I'm a fan of the movies, but I'm also a filmmaker.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, a filmmaker and a storyteller in my own right too. So I just wanted to make sure it felt fresh and contemporary. And for someone like you and me who like love movies like this and love the movies from the past, that we could have a good time watching it, but also that we could bring in this fresh new audience. So maybe there's some young people in your life that haven't watched a horror movie like this before, and you can introduce it to them. That's what I wanted to achieve with the movie, to open the door so new people could come in and enjoy the experience alongside the fans from the past.
Well, one thing you did exactly right, and what fans are going to expect is the blood. There's a little bit of it in this.
There is blood. Yeah, there's a little bit of red sticky in this movie.
How much did you use? Like what? That was fun.
It was a lot. I did know the answer in liters, but I was recently given the updated formula, so it was a little above 1,700 gallons of blood, which is quite a lot of blood, and all of that is the real deal, sticky, made from scratch movie blood that could act as a character in the film, that we could code actors with, that, just became something very, very iconic in the story. Nobody escapes this film without red on them.
No, they do not. They do not. Talk about the casting and placing the story on a family. What was the inspiration behind that?
I like horror stories that kind of poke their nose into domestic circumstance, because it's typically something that people can identify with when they watch a movie. And for me, it's kind of like a beautiful shortcut to get attention and also to create that understanding of family, of home, things that people can identify with. And I think one of the differences, if you think about teenagers going to a cabin in the woods, it's already a creepy place. It's already an unfamiliar place. But I wanted to place this story in the opposite, in a very familiar space, and to then pull that familiar space apart and create this level of horror and discomfort for the characters that should be in their safest place in their world. And it's all the more terrifying when horror comes home, right? Because then there's no escape.
What will be, will be.